First thing, we need a approval for the remote attendance of one of our members. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the remote attendance.
Aye.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And can we go through our routine of where guests are today?
And one question.
Thank you. Good, thank you. Any public comment for today? Any public comment online from anybody?
All set, no?
Okay, all right. Hearing none, let's move on to approval of the meeting minutes from our January 7th meeting. Did anybody get a chance to look ahead of time at those?
No, we couldn't open the link, so if we could throw them up and.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be
Could
great.
display those. Yeah, I had an access issue yesterday.
Barely discussed anything other than putting the syllabus together. What else is in there?
Went over the ordinance. And then someone brought up a good idea about the syllabus. I don't know who that was.
The syllabus, yeah, that's kind of was the,
It was Charles.
yeah, I don't know, thank you. I reached deep for that one. I think we all have that, bench.
He coined it.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Exercise, oh.
Sure.
Oh, it's-
Putting the motion, is there a second?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
All right, thank you very much. Hearing no opposition, the meetings are approved from January 7th. All right, thank you for putting that up there, Gabriella. We could go to today's agenda.
He did that. I mean, is he did that?
I don't know.
And we have a presentation by some guests today from ComEd. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
And
Thanks for coming in. Okay.
yeah, if you could introduce yourselves and then go ahead and show us what you have.
My name is Godwin Itira. I'm the manager of reliability within our North region with ComEd. Just for reference, North region stretches to the Wisconsin border, down border with the city of Chicago. Chicago is a different region, kind of down to Oak Brook type area, and west to like the Fox River is like a good idea of a border. We have like a North region, a West region, a South region, and then Chicago. So thank you for having us. I don't know if Edith is also on.
Yeah, Edith Ruiz, she's the municipal external affairs manager.
doesn't seem to be on.
I don't know if she had the link for this or not.
She should have the link.
Okay. Yeah, she said she wasn't feeling well, so she said she may join through the virtual case.
Can you say your name again?
Edith Ruiz, she's the external.
Ruiz.
Ruiz. She's the external affairs manager for the city of Evanston. And I'm Tony Garza. I work for Resource Innovations. We are contracted by ComEd to do outreach on energy efficiency. So I primarily work with municipalities, but often bleeds over to commercial and industrial and small business and residential. So be able to help you there.
I think two of the things we're hoping to learn today is a little bit about ComEd's plan for, increased capacity for increased demand and the associated capacity, and then the resilience of the ComEd system. Give us all a sense of that when we talk about electrification and so forth, we're in good hands.
I have a slideshow.
Do you
I
have the
don't,
link?
I don't have internet though.
Oh, you don't have internet?
Yes. Do I connect to the? I
Go
tried
to your
connecting to
Wi-Fi
the-
browser and just open it up and say connect.
Can you send them that slide deck to whoever's presenting? I thought Edith had sent that over to you guys.
I think we got it. Is it this slide? Get in the, oh, that's a different one. Okay.
Unless you can,
I could do that as well. Well, I don't have HDMI, but I have USB-C as a connection.
is there a way to connect into this or into the meeting? Maybe join the Google?
No, you don't have a hotspot on my phone. That'd be the fastest. So I want you guys to redo the whole. I stuff.
I can,
Because
we're trying to figure out how to get the presentation onto your meeting.
Right. In terms of the Wi-Fi, the guest network is not working.
no, it's working. I'm on.
Oh, so you can
Okay.
even
Yeah,
join
just-
the thing.
Just go to your Wi-Fi, go to your Wi, go to systems, Wi-Fi and select the city of Evanston guest.
It's not letting me connect.
Is your Wi-Fi working? Do you want a hotspot onto my?
Just figure this out. Sorry. Oh, we could discuss something else in the meantime.
What is it called?
Oh, I wanted to also,
iPhone.
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah, this is old school, my wife.
I'm
likes
a
this.
Virgo.
So today,
Ah,
there's this article, comments Smith's 4-year grid plan. So that's
So I
a.
want to see, you can read it. Food costs like, why don't you invite Robert to the next meeting? He's to have a story.
So, so one of the things that the article mentions is that, you know, there's a plan for it, but the funding for that plan still has to be approved by the ICC. So.
Sorry for any online folks confusion. Our main screen just went black, so we are troubleshooting right now.
Understood.
presentation.
Whoever else.
Okay, I turned my audio off.
Okay, I think we're good now, and this is turned
And
on.
double check that people online hear us.
They're on mute, so.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, Anita's is there.
Okay.
Great, thank
Good
you.
morning. Good morning. I could hear you all.
That was the comment person that you mentioned. Edith.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome, Edith.
Thank you so
Hi.
much. I'm sorry I can't be there.
Definitely. Billions, what was the title? Like, it was External Affairs.
And so really most everything I think you would work through Edith, like any questions that you have. I think, and Edith can correct
You could always start with Edith. You
Yeah.
can reach out to,
whoever the
Rowan or
appropriate
me
group
or-
is within
yeah.
comment. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Godwin.
So we'll kind of go through the agenda. I think this is what was requested by the group here. A little bit about reliability and then talking about electrification.
spotlight
Audits.
or make it bigger.
I tried to do the
think-
full screen.
And-
Oh,
yeah.
at least on there.
I
Okay,
think
that might be
Gabrielle's
on the
screen.
computer.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you.
So when I present, do I have to wait?
Good.
Because my computer's in presentation mode, but it's not.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so let me get out of that because it won't change when I change. But I guess these are kind of the items that were requested for us to discuss: reliability, electrification incentives, audit support, and just information on our energy efficiency programs in general. So I'll start off with the reliability portion and then hand it up. So a little bit about reliability. Really the most important metric that we look at, it's called SAIFI. So it stands for System Average Interruption Frequency Index. Basically what we do is we take all the customer interruptions. So we can do it for like the ComEd system as a whole or a particular region or Evanston. And we take all those interruptions and we divide by how many people are in that group we're looking at. So it's kind of an average. So you could think about it as on average how often a customer within that group is having an interruption. So when it's less than one, it's less than one interruption on average a year. So you can kind of see our trends and you can see the last 5 years on those like those 4 bar graphs on the right. You can see it kind of does go up and down, and a lot of it varies based on weather. Storms have a big impact on our system. What I always like to focus, it's always big picture for us, is look at trends. So those 3 kind of graphs on the left there are kind of 5-year trends. The first one's 2007 to 2011, second one's 2012 to 2016, and the third one's 2017 to 2021. You can see in the past, the SAIFI number was for Evanston above 1, and now we're below. We're still working on kind of finalizing all the 2025 data, and we kind of put it together in a nice report that Edith kind of presents to the village. But you can see last year it was 0.62. We have, for all these reports, there was an event in 2024 in July in South Region. We called it the Ring of Fire. It was very, very hot in July, and there was a lot of tornado activity. I think over the course of the weekend, there was like maybe 40 to 50 tornadoes. Fortunately, it didn't really affect Evanston that much, but we include that on every report because it was such an impact on so many towns and villages. It's a little hard to tell, but for reference, we also put ComEd as a whole, what the safety number is, and we also put the safety number for North Region. So kind of a breakdown, ComEd, North Region, and then Evanston is the bar graph.
So what does the yellow mean versus the blue?
Oh, that's a good question and something I didn't mention. So we break down what portion of that safety is storm versus non-storm. So that yellow number is storm, and then the blue portion is non-storm. So you can see some years have been worse than others. Storm-wise has made up a lot of the interruptions in Evanston. Like 2021 specifically was kind of a bad year. It's August. We remember these dates. They live in infamy. August 10th, 2021. It just lives in your head. 2024, I think the big issue was we had a blizzard in January in 2024 that came in and kind of affected the region. But we've done, I'll kind of go through the bottom portion talks about causes and which one is kind of the leading cause most of the time. And the same for 2024, vegetation is the cause. So we did a lot of work in 2025. I think it was roughly 60 miles of feeders we assessed and we trimmed. We tried to make sure that we find that very fine balance between making sure the resident and the village and the customer is happy that we don't do too much trimming, because we all love our trees. But we also want to make sure that we mitigate any reliability issues that we identify. And it could be overhang, or it could be certain species of trees we found have a higher failure rate. So we've had programs over the years. This is always a long process. Over the years, we've learned and gotten better and done a lot of work on the system. Any questions on that? I kind of ran through.
Yeah, just one question. So I see in the lower bar chart, is that tree related where you see the big columns?
Yes.
So how do you distinguish tree related from storm? Because a lot of the tree issues come from storms, right?
Well, for the top portion, if it's tree related during a storm, that's going to be tree related. They're like different breakdowns. If in a storm a tree hits, it'll be classified as tree related, the outage.
Okay.
So within that orange piece on the top bar graph, there are tree outages in there. So that's a part of that data set. Right?
Okay.
A lot of stuff we're doing. I mean, we've been investing over the years in automation to automatically restore. So that might be when you might see where you're out for maybe 2 seconds or 30 seconds or 60 seconds. We have different levels where we try to reclose if it's a temporary outage, like a branch could fall on a line, hit the line. We have the breaker open up, the branch falls off, we have it closed back in. And then you don't have to wait for like a line worker to come out and restore. It's all automatic. So we put a lot of investment in the system, and we continue to analyze and continue to invest.
And I know there's a Katie metric too. Are you going to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I had the Katie portion in the previous slide.
What does Katie stand for?
So Katie stands for Customer Average Interruption Duration Index. So it's on average, how long, when somebody is out of power, how long does it take us to restore? I kind of removed that portion. So
If you have a lower frequency, then the duration is less than 40, because it doesn't happen too much.
yeah, typically the frequency's a lot more important. A lot of times as we've gotten better at not having the outage, the duration overall has gone up slightly. But a lot of those outages are really one areas where it's a little bit harder to access and harder to get to. But I can maybe follow up my business. I don't have
It's
the
okay.
actual, I thought this was more important to see like the cause, like what's causing outages. That was a little bit.
And my only point of bringing it up is it's just one more metric that ComEd is keeping track of. And that, here in Evanston, so I was on the ancestor to the Utilities Commission in the early 2000s, and the frequencies and the durations were quite a bit longer. With the technology improvements and the communication improvements, all those things have made us not think about them as much as we used to. I mean, people still think it happens, but then they realize I haven't had one in 4 years.
And I've worked for the company for 21 years in June. We have invested so much money. It's not just that, it's the whole system. We've just put so much money and so much work in making it better. And it's nice to see as an employee, how things were 20 years ago and how things are now. It's honestly nice.
Okay, good. I'll let you continue.
Okay, I think reliability wise, we kind of kept it brief. I was gonna, if you have more questions, I can answer, but I was gonna turn it over to Tony.
I was wondering, so on the reliability side, I was wondering if you could maybe identify, you mentioned a couple things about, what is the reclosers, when you have a brief contact, things go off, but then it comes back on right away. Do you know some of the other technologies that we could be aware of that actually help the frequency improve?
Technology wise, we are investing in fiber as well. We're trying to make it quicker, is one thing we're looking at. A lot of the other technology we're looking at is more data collection, so a lot more sensing on the lines. We're also looking at doing more advanced testing on especially like our underground, to see kind of the health of the underground system as well. So that's kind of where we're headed. The future is, this is distant future, is being really good at collecting data and analyzing it, and actually maybe being able to start predicting outages. That's years and years ahead. But right now we're putting a lot of line sensors, we call them. So they collect a lot of data. They have high sample rates, and trying to see, do we see any pattern before an outage where we can tell, oh, okay, we're going to have an outage, especially with like underground type equipment that takes time to restore. Right. That's kind of the future, but that's years ahead. Yeah.
I took a tour a few years back at S&C Electric.
Okay.
And
a lot of equipment from there.
yeah. And, so some of the technologies that I remember being presented, there's certain coatings for the cables that when a branch can hit, it can slide off easily instead of being hung up. So that was one technology on the cable side. Another was a little bit related to your communications, but it had to do with how you can reroute power, when there is an outage, so that fewer people are out.
Yes, and it's in tandem with the reclosers and being able to automatically isolate segments. Right. We've been doing, since 2012 or so, we've just been putting reclosers on every single, putting on all circuits. And
then, the metering, the AMI, allows, at least when there is an outage, allows people to know, the crews almost exactly where to go.
Yeah.
There's no more guessing games about where did things go awry. They know pretty well ahead of time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the restoration times go a lot quicker then.
So this is all really interesting. This is like situational reliability, but I feel like what we're also interested in, but maybe more interested in, is like the capacity reliability. If we're talking more about electrification opportunities and then the energy use intensity, and we're going to be putting more energy strain on the grid in Evanston. So what is ComEd doing for that future planning so that we're not at risk of more brownouts, blackouts, that sort of reliability?
Well, anytime anyone adds load on the system, that gets evaluated by, we have a separate group, a capacity planning group that evaluates that. So, and additionally, we look at feeders every year, usually, depends on the type of load, but usually it's summertime, but we look at where the feeders have peaked and if there are any type of overloads. That gets evaluated every year. And we invest, do we need to, shift the load between circuits, or do we need to upgrade anything? That gets evaluated every year.
Let me jump in also, Godwin. And what we do also is, obviously, we are aware of businesses coming, developers or residents that are coming into our towns, and we make sure that, we have the capacity for that town, right? We don't necessarily build anything prior. And I think we've talked to Cara and Evanston in the past. We've had, our capacity planning group come and present in the past. So we're always, to Godwin's point, not only are we looking at reliability and, sustainability from that aspect, right? But sustaining or making sure that the capacity of all of our customers that need to come in have the ability to be supported. So I hope that helps answer your question.
I think part two of that would be, how is ComEd, what Maddie was going for was, how is ComEd looking 10, 20, 30 years down the road for buildings that are going off gas into electric, as we attempt to achieve net zero in 2050? What is the capacity planning team doing specifically in Evanston? Because it has, building loads. So as we go to net zero, I don't know if ComEd looks at, these buildings are using gas for heat. They've got boiler heat. They're now going to use electric. What would that look like on our system?
Right. With a special asterisk for renewables, particularly, since that's another bucket that we're
Right.
filling.
I didn't throw that in. So that's, a big question I've always had is, here we go towards net zero. Can the ComEd system handle it?
We would review it as the building would
On demand.
convert. Yeah. We want to make sure we don't overbuild the system. We can't just, from an investment standpoint, we can't just assume that, okay, this building is going to convert to electric. We would do it based on, customer would come to us and say, we want to convert, and then
Yeah.
we figure
So
out.
for instance, Illinois passes laws, and then lets it roll out. For instance, there's a law that, all new development needs to have 100% electric car capability, electric car charging capability, but system can't handle it. ComEd can't handle it. So there's got to be, a way for planning for all this. But I guess what you guys are saying as the situation arises, then you deal with it. If that's what I'm hearing correctly.
On the small scale, that's how we handle it. Our capacity planning team also does review. There's an annual review, and then they do, it's called like 5-year planning. So they kind of try to look out based on all the demand that they're receiving from customers converting. They do look at how stations are loading, and as they're getting close to their capacity, invest.
Because we're just, where we're going is we don't want people to we've got this charge to go to do modifications and stuff, and then have a struggle, as some developers in the city have had, getting the power to do what they need to do to comply.
Yeah, basically.
And we know ComEd can be a partner, but there's been hiccups in that regard.
And I think the most important thing is to come to us as, you know, as early as you can with the plans and let us know. That kind of helps us give information about your plans and, you know, where things might be happening. That helps. So I think just letting us know as early as possible is probably
And
key.
then, right, and I'll jump in, and if there's issues that you want to bring to our attention, I would hope that someone gets in touch with me to find out about those situations. Those are kind of a two-prong approach, right? But, you know, those are the situations that I'd like to know about so that I can address the proper departments for that.
I guess I don't know if we still have it, the city of Evanston has the capacity planning group presentation. Would be interesting for us to see. You mentioned that.
I could work on having that, you know, planned for the future if that's something that's of interest. Like I said, you know, the capacity planning presentation that we did, Cara, back, I guess, like, I don't know, was it the fall or summer of last year? We could have them come back in.
Or even if you show us the slide deck for just reference,
Yeah.
if it was informative that way.
Yeah, we'll have them do it because unfortunately we don't have their deck.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think all these things are to give people some reassurance that the direction things are heading are not going to go off a cliff someplace. So, but make sure the grid has capacity and, you know, Maddie's comment about the situational thing of reliability, that's been one of the fears expressed. What happens if I go all electric and then the power goes out? And you know, from what we're seeing in the recent history is that that's less and less likely with time. And so I think these are ways to, for people fearful of this transition, I think these are ways to kind of calm some of those fears, at least in my mind.
And then the renewable component, I don't know if you were going to follow up, if that was next.
We touch on it a little bit at the end of my slides.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, let's keep going.
Energy efficiency side of things. All right, so the energy efficiency program's been around for about 16 years. As you can see, there's been, you know, hundreds of thousands of applications. We cover all sectors from residential, small business, commercial, industrial, municipality. So aside from our customers that are most recently, there's a small slice of customers that can opt out of the program. Otherwise, all the customers are eligible to participate in the program. To the next slide. It is funded by the ComEd customers. So every customer that pays into the system, they're going to have a line item on their bill. The one good thing, it is a state-run program. It's funded annually. So it's a little bit shielded from some of the things happening at the federal level. So that's one good thing that we have with the program. So I'm going to touch on probably three of the most common programs that we see municipalities and commercial industrials and small businesses participate in, just kind of thinking about the buildings that you're wanting to target with your ordinance. The first one is instant discounts. It's like when you go to the Ace Hardware and you see that there's a discount on the light bulb through the ComEd program. The discount's taken right off of at the point of sale. So there's a couple hundred distributors that you can go and purchase these products from. And we cover lights, HVAC equipment, and electric fork trucks. So that's one of the, for folks that's typically aimed at people who have like their own electrician, their own staff of people to do the work. So sometimes it's just easier to go through your normal purchasing process and buy the lights or buy the equipment that you need. The second one is called the standard offering. This is typically a pre-application process, and we cover everything from lighting upgrades, energy management systems, refrigeration, street lights. There's a whole swath of things, and I'll have some information so you have an idea of what's covered in the standard program. What we do with the standard program is any projects that are over $10,000 in incentive money would require reservation. So we'd go through a pre-application process. We also have the option that if, say you're doing a project and you're not sure and you want to confirm it, you can, even if you are below the 10,000 incentive, you could say, I'd like to go through the pre-application, have one of our engineers review it just to make sure we identify any things that you need to be aware of if you participate in that particular program. Also with the standard offering, you could do a self-install for like the municipalities. I know that you guys have your own staff, or you can use a energy efficiency service provider, which we do require that they are certified by the state. So the state of Illinois does a certification process. It's an annual certification process. So we know that these aren't just fly by the night entities that are doing these installations for you. And then the third one is the small business offering. And this is for customers with demands that are less than 500 kW. So it's a pretty good swath of customers. And with the small business offering, typically it's aimed at people who don't have their own entity to do the installations. They're open. We've got 80 energy efficiency certified installers. They would come out, do an assessment. Hey, let's look at your lights. Let's look at your HVAC. Let's look at, whatever you have that you're looking to. And then they identify those for you. They would say, here's what we propose. This is with the incentives included. And then the idea is that you would then, potentially contract with that entity to go ahead. Also, the one thing we know that some entities require is a bid. Like sometimes you have to take it back to an approval board or approval. So if you do decide to go, or if somebody decides to go to small business and they do need a bidding, they can say, hey, I need 2 or 3 bids. This way I could take it back to my deciding entity and they can see what the comparisons are if that's what's needed.
In order to install that energy efficient idea, you would have to go back and use that energy efficient contractor.
Correct. That's the intended. And if it's a bid, then you would typically select one of the 3. So, and of course, just with everything, there's always, a little bit of room if there's, questions and stuff, we can always navigate that. So any questions, and we call these like the money makers, these are the ones. But we also have programs for like new construction or something that's not on the list. If it's using electricity, you can always come to us and we can take a look at it to see if maybe there's some potential incentives available.
On the new construction, which of those groups do we contact?
You can contact the standard offer, or you can
Just
contact
follow
me.
like less than 500 kW.
Yeah, I mean, what we'll find out is like, the one thing with the new construction, there's like a little questionnaire that we go through to see like which way we send it. So
Just go to just find one of them.
yeah, either find one or you can contact me. You can let us know. We can always help navigate the program. That's my job, is to help you guys navigate the program. So
Tony, can you give us an idea of what the extent of the incentives is? For example, is it, 100% if it's below a certain threshold, or is it like a 30% match, or how do these incentives work? Like, in other words, how much does ComEd pay and how much does the customer end up paying?
yeah, it all depends on which path you take. So for the standard incentive, it can be anywhere from like 30 to 60% of the cost. For the small business, those tend to be a little bit higher depending on what you're upgrading. So that's how often it's been anywhere from like, 50 to 60%. And then what we also have is right now in the springtime, they usually offer a Kickstart program. So say your incentive, for the public, it's an upward of up to 40% additional incentive. For private, it's up additional 30% potential incentive. I say potential because it's all dependent on that final paperwork. So if your incentive amount is $100 and you qualify for this additional bonus, it could be $140. So then that increases the amount of costs that are covered. So it really just depends. Like lighting street lights is like $1 per watt reduced. A lot of what our programs is like baseline. What's your baseline and how are you going to reduce your electric consumption based on the equipment that you're putting in? And then we say, based on that reduction in incentive, based on the either the cents or the dollars per reduction, then that calculates out incentives. So it's very project specific. Any more questions on this slide?
Does the retro commissioning fall under the
It does.
agency program?
Yeah, it does. So, and then, we just have to make sure with retro commissioning, like right now I've got a customer, they want to do retro commissioning, but they want to put a new EMS system, but we have to be sure we don't double dip. So I should just say, like, if you participate in discounts, you can't then say, oh, I'm going to also participate in standard. So you just can't double dip on those kilowatt hour savings and the dollars that are spent.
And can I just ask about the building envelope? What kind of work does ComEd help pay for there?
It is, I don't have all that information with me. It would be in the small business offering, but let me get you the cut sheet on that, what that building envelope looks like. The next slide is what we call the non-monetary ways to participate. So the first one is a facility assessment. Sometimes you may not you may not necessarily know what you need to get done. So sometimes a facility assessment can come in and say like, all right, we see opportunities and, your lighting or insulation or, your HVAC system, or maybe not the whole system. Maybe it's just, some new air handlers or sensors in your rooms, in your conference room. So that assessment can come in and identify the opportunities that are available. You would then get a report that says, these are all the things we've identified. These are incentives that are available to you. And then you can go ahead and plan accordingly. The other one is what we call the Business Energy Analyzer. It is an online tool that all the C&I customers can participate in. Your account number and your zip code is the way you get into that particular tool. And then you can get charts on how you're using electricity, both the electricity usage and your demand. So if, for instance, your business is closed on weekends and you go into your business energy analyzer and you see you have a high usage on the weekends, it's probably say like, hey, let's figure out what's going on. Is something running that shouldn't be running? Did, every light in the conference room, be left on? Did someone not close the refrigerator in, the cafeteria or something like that? So it's a really good tool as a starting point to see where you're using your energy. Also, it allows you to see your demand. So that demand that customers pay is between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. So if you're running operations that can be moved into before the 9 a.m. or after the 6 p.m., that can help you save on your energy bills as well. So any questions on these two tools?
And sometimes at that level, you can start to discern impacts on changes that you make. So for example, your energy measures and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Look back in time and then suddenly you can see the drop off
Right.
because that implementation has gone into effect.
Right. Yeah. And so like, the BEA can help identify some like operational things and behavioral activities. You might encourage everybody, make sure you turn out all your lights. And I feel like when I was a kid, I turn out the lights, you're not paying the energy bill. Or it might be an opportunity to install sensors. This way someone doesn't have to remember to turn off the lights, but they know when everybody leaves the room, the lights will go off. So, but yeah, and for folks that are like, they really like seeing when because it's a win-win. It's like whether you install an incentive or you change your behavior and reduce your energy bill, especially for municipalities or even businesses, that's less of a cost you pass on to somebody else. So it ends up being a win-win.
I found that usually people with some technical background are the ones that can use that to its full extent.
Yeah.
So not all operations people are.
Yes. We can assist with as well. So like I had a customer and he was like, why is my bill so high? We looked it up and it was for one pump station. We went into the tool, he logged in, went to the tool, and you're testing your pumping stations at 9 a.m. Can you move it to 7? He's like, oh yeah. And like the next month he saw his bill go down. But just a little, and again, he's probably never going to go into the tool again, but going into that one time is saving him money. So, sometimes it's a little tedious, or like,
That are running their equipment aren't the ones looking at the bill,
Right.
so you don't know. If you don't know, if you're not like one of us, you're not looking at peak and off peak and.
yeah. And that's, that's something that, we can help facilitate because if And we're, even if just looking at the behavioral side of things, sometimes we could just identify, hey, if you just change this, you're going to see the net effect on the other side, on your bill. So next slide. Okay, and this is the beneficial electrification. So as we were talking, you know, with new buildings going up and requirements for EV, so we cover we cover charging stations, we cover the make ready, which is the infrastructure to the charging station. We cover electric vehicles, electric fleets. We also have an electrification fleet assessment. So if for some, you know, if you have a large quantity of, you know, for like schools or municipalities or maybe businesses that have a fleet of vehicles, we can come in and say like, hey, let's take a look at what vehicles you have, see where there's opportunities to have some of those turn into EVs, and then what rebates are available for those. So obviously we wouldn't turn everybody 100% maybe electric. We don't want, you know, all the cars to not be charged for some reason and you're an emergency. So they're very mindful of keeping a balance of electric vehicles, hybrids, and your traditional combustion engines. So if you have any,
The city has taken advantage of that and it's been really helpful to us. So thank you for that.
and even electric buses. So, you know, there's all sorts of new technologies, electric, you know, trucks even. So there's opportunities available for both businesses and for the towns. Next one. Okay, so this is solar incentives. So while technically I would not necessarily be your point of contact to walk you through solar, if you did have questions, you can always reach out to me and we would get you over to the solar team at ComEd. And really what it is there's a number of tools that are available for both potentially installing solar panels. There's a solar calculator. You enter your address and it can determine, is your rooftop a good candidate or not? You've got a bunch of trees hanging over, probably not. You've got wide open spaces and, you know, exposure to the light and to the sun, you may be a candidate. And then it'll let you know what incentives are available for that. They also cover community solar in that solar section. So if customers want to participate in community solar, and then if there's anybody interested in anything further, then it'll point you to which way to go for solar. Any questions on that? Next one. And then the home energy savings. So we talked about this a little bit. We do have services available for pretty much everybody. So residential customers can do a home assessment. It'll give them opportunities and let them know what incentives can be offered. And then also there's multifamily. They're also moving to whole home incentives. So there's 2 or 3 different programs available for residential customers. And so if it's something that residential customers are interested in participating in, well, certainly we can get them started on that. I think there's a couple other communities that kind of see Evanston as a little bit of their competition. So they're like, how many assessments have they done? I'm like, well, I'm not privy to say how many they've done, but you know, hey, you know, if you want to show up, you know, if you guys want to show up your competitors, you can say like, hey, let's get some more home energy assessments in and, you know, get some bragging rights in. Also what we found is one community, a sustainability team, what they did is they had everybody on their team do an assessment. They had their home assessed done. And if they were a small business owner, they had their small business. Then they used that as a testimonial in their newsletters. So when they hear from their neighbors, you know, hear from me, Godwin, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's just ComEd. They're wanting to do this. But when they hear from their neighbors, it brings a lot of credibility to the program and, you know, your experience in it, maybe encourage others to participate. So any questions on this?
Are the home assessments in any way income restricted?
They are not. Everybody, I mean, folks can get an assessment. It depends on what incentives are provided for that. So there are some income-based incentives. There are some incentives and programs that are income-based, but otherwise they can call and they can request at least an assessment to see what's available.
ComEd identified or does it know, is it privy to know who's installed solar on their properties in Evanston, you know, business wise
I'm not sure. Edith might be able to assist with that. I know that there's an
In the
energy.
state, no, is it something
I know
feasible
that
in
there's-
small footprints?
I believe there's an energy efficiency report, but I don't recall if it includes solar installations or not.
Well, you have to get an interconnection approval, so they do know who's on the system and where. You can't just put the solar panels on your roof and start operating.
No, I'm just wondering the benefit, like the number that have been installed so far, the benefits to the system, that kind of thing, what capacity's been reduced.
We have a new report that just rolled out last year that actually has more solar information as far as how many individuals participate. Again, solar is something, how can I described this when we were going through this information with Tony, right? We technically, don't track solar users. It's a supplier, right? It's whoever you choose to supply your energy from, right? So we don't necessarily have too much information. I know that Tony did say if you're interested in solar, we have a group that handles that. But as far as solar and who's participating, there is somewhat of a report that we have, but you have to report it as an individual as well in order to get credits and find out who's actually using it.
I think the next slide is we're just into Q&A. So if you have any questions, I have some information. Before this. I'm not going to give everybody the municipal one. I'll give this to you.
Watch yourself with the word.
Yes. Read this. I don't know if you need a municipal one. Thank you. What it is, it's just some cut sheet. It gives you an idea of what the different energy efficiency opportunities are. So the first sheet is just a cut sheet around the facility assessments. Just gives you a little bit more information on how to go about the facility, how to request one. If it's a municipality, you can reach out to me. If it's other folks, if you can either call the number on here, you can reach out to me. I can get you squared away. If there's a building or an assessment that you want to have done for to identify opportunities. The second sheet is the standard incentives, just kind of gives you an idea of what is incentives. So indoor, outdoor lighting, there's energy management systems, HVAC information, and then you kind of get a little bit of an idea of what the monetary incentive is. Again, most of it, this is the standard incentive sheet, and most of it is, based on watt reduced or electricity, kilowatt hours reduced, when you're doing
An extra one of those.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sheets I got, but that one. Thank you.
Sorted them all out. And then the next one is the clean energy offering, which kind of gives you a summary of all the different energy efficiency items. So it's something, we covered some of them. We didn't cover everything, but this at least gives you an idea of what's available. And you'll see on the back, there's a little bit on the bottom about solar incentives available. And then lastly, I included the private sector kickstart. This lets you know the bonus information. So as I mentioned, if you submit an application prior to March 31st and finish projects by September 30th, then you can qualify, you have a potential of some additional bonus money to help offset those costs for projects. So there's a lot in there.
The list has really grown.
So I know with the healthy buildings we had, when I talked with Kara and Kirsten, it was, trying to find tools and information for the buildings to meet some of the, as you head forward to reducing. So this is information that we can share with them. And get your links to all this on the website if you ever want to include it in the newsletter or things like that to help, spread the word. So. Any questions?
We can go to the website and get more of this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can make sure we get to you with all, where to find all this information, so you don't have to go hunt and destroy on your own.
Any other questions? Thank you. Any questions from those online?
Nope, all set.
All right, great. Thank you.
What's the takeaway from that? And we clearly have an incentive, like the incentives are a great tool that we could put into the program and make it more economical for our community. If we can communicate it to them.
Yeah, if people want to know what they can do, these are the possibilities that they can pick from. I mean, our group is to set up the targets. We're kind of agnostic how you get there, but people want to know how they can get there. These are some of the opportunity paths.
So
To do it.
I feel like this relates to EUI targets.
Right.
Can we, before y'all go, can we talk a little bit about renewables to the grid and what ComEd confused. ComEd is going to be doing for renewables on the grid in the coming years, or is that a different team?
I'll ask Edith first if she would like to cover this. I mean, it's not exactly my forte, but I have a little bit of it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not so much my role as much as I worked at ComEd for 24 years.
Yeah, that's not my forte either. So, I mean, I think the renewable part of it would also be part of like the capacity planning or some other group internally. Tony, if you want to take a stab, I mean,
Yeah.
go ahead. And what you do have.
Yeah, so one thing that ComEd doesn't own any generation. We're generation free, right? So we procure energy through the Illinois Power Agency. The Illinois Power Agency then decides what's the mix of renewable purchases and, kind of as Godwin and, folks mentioned, as people connect to the grid, depending on at what capacity they're connecting to the grid, that is all kind of taken into consideration. So we don't necessarily decide what renewable, exactly what renewables we're going to get. The Illinois Power Agency decides that on behalf of ComEd. So that's, certainly there's discussions on it and there's, state mandates and there's targets that are set, but ComEd per se doesn't say, well, we're going to go 100% renewable. It's really a decision of the Illinois Power Agency based on the forecasts and the requirements and capacity and, some of the work that like Godwin and his team does to make those decisions. So does that answer your question?
So in order to, we just need to look at what the Illinois Power Agency has out for any kind of future planning. Do they have any of that public? Is that something that we
It is available. The Illinois Power Agency, they do have a website, and they do put out their plans, and they're kind of like what the mix that they're aiming for. I don't have it specifically, but yes.
Have a, now that we passed the Clean Energy Jobs Act and all that stuff, it must almost feed into that. So
They're implementing that, the
Right.
requirements for that. And then I know on the ComEd website, I don't know exactly where, but I can try to find it. Each year ComEd does a disclosure that says this is the mix of energy, just so you have an idea. Again, it's procured through the Illinois Power Agency in conjunction with PJM, the Interconnect Transmission Organization. So, but it does say like, how much is coal, how much nuclear, how much renewable, it does have that available on what's historically been done, but the Illinois Power Agency would have future plans.
So renewable should be going up and is what we're hoping to hear. Right.
Question. So that's at kind of those ComEd service territory next level. What about like being strategic about how much renewables and where you want those renewables to go in to help you guys support the grid
Yeah.
and maybe avoid upgrades in certain areas?
There's,
What are you doing?
yeah, there, I think it was out of the 2012 Grid Modernization Act. They were required to create a DG map, a distributed generation map. So it is available online that they can go in and see where is distributed generation, including renewables, like where are they placed? Where in on the map? And then I think that's where Godwin, his team comes in and they say, oh, well, you know what, let's see where this all's going in and seeing, you know, if there's upgrades and reliability and things like that. So it's a very integrated project to know, like, because if on this block it's all renewable, there may not be capacity on the grid to take in another renewable project. They may say, well, this isn't a good placement. Maybe you need to go place it someplace else. And that distributed generation map allows entities that are interested in putting in distributed generation, whether it's renewables, you know, battery or cogen, whatever it is, where to place it, and then how it impacts ultimately when it connects to the grid through the interconnection process. They're going to say, can we accommodate it? Are there upgrades that need to be done? Is there something else? You know, they're going to then do the technical analysis there.
And you have the battery component in tandem with that too, with the renewables.
So, and again, that's all part of the distributed generation interconnection process. So they've done some front end stuff just to say, you know, not to waste people's time, to say like, oh, this is very concentrated here. Maybe that might make this people's decisions on where to place things otherwise. So. That answered your question. It's-
I guess, I mean, the underlying question is, are there any issues here in Evanston that we would have to be concerned about in terms of, you know,
I think that's, you know, probably the capacity planning that we had talked about, you know, just to maybe either review what you've already done or maybe give you an update on things. So.
Good. Well, thank you for all that.
Yeah, thank you.
Gives us some of the beginning and some of the downstream things that people need to consider.
Definitely not a complete linear path. It's got little, you know, offshoots and winding but you know, definitely there's, you know, there is a path. So.
Good. So thanks again for coming in for us today.
There's a few swag bags back there, so.
Thank you.
Little bags are like reusable grocery bags. They tuck into themselves, so they turn into like a little pocket thing. So they don't take up too much space.
It's wonderful.
Well, we got a late start on our meeting today, so I don't know if anybody can linger past 10, or we can kind of accelerate.
I got a hard stop.
Okay. With that said, I'm going to quickly smash together two things on our agenda. And one was the syllabus, and then, you know, the teams to kind of dig into some of our early development of our targets and our outreach and so forth. So what each of you got is a proposed task team and schedule for the next couple of months or so. So what we need is people to kind of volunteer for one of these three teams. Right now we've got five people on the committee, and the idea is to have these teams be 2 people each. So if you guys could look that over and see which team you'd like to be on, and until we fill the vacancy, I'm willing to double up on 2 of the teams to help move this forward. So oh, there's the colored version. Okay.
Pretty nice there.
Does anybody have any initial thoughts about what they'd like to be part of?
I just, oh, go ahead, Charles.
Toss myself, as long as I'm with you, team one. Team one, as I reviewed it, team one seemed to align more with something that's useful.
Everybody else?
I was gonna suggest, team three, because, communication is so key in getting our gaps filled and who's reporting and stuff, and I've connected, newsletters and, connecting to the multifamily space and people like that, so, yeah.
I'll jump on team two.
I'll jump on team 3 because it's delivering a message to buildings. So I'm part of BOMA. So
All right, great. Thank
So
you.
that went better than expected.
It did.
All right, so we got Stephanie and Tom on the outreach team. Maddie, you said team 2 for renewables. And Charles, team 1 for the EUI targets. Okay,
What do you mean by ID members?
that's what we just did.
Oh. Sorry, I was like, check. Okay,
That's the,
Got
who's gonna do it?
okay.
Yeah,
So you and I on team two, and then you and Charles on team one.
right. All right, great. Thank you. So, and just to repeat, the reason we've got 2 members, this is to allow free communication without Open Meetings Act requirement. So,
Did you just want to go through this?
No, I mean, we kind of got our targets set.
thank you for making that easy.
We should review it and just comments for next week and put it on the meeting minutes. Does that make sense? Right?
I'm sorry, I was,
We should, put in the minutes that people review the syllabus and
yes. Yes.
comments for next week. I'm not sure about time.
Did we ever figure out what maximum normalized site EUI was defined as?
Yeah.
I didn't see.
I think that's the upper threshold of what it could be.
Yeah, it's defined actually in the ordinance, if you go and look at the wording, but it's basically the maximum EUI, weather normalized on a KBPU per square foot basis, that is set for a building to reach or not go beyond.
That should be in our build, so that'll eventually be in our building types.
Yes, you'll be determining that.
For each building, right? Yeah.
What page was that definition on, or it's further in the big ordinance?
If you go through on the table, there'll be a table with all the definitions and you will see the definitions of them.
All right, good. Gabriella, could you pull up the agenda real quick?
See.
You see, okay, you're going for it.
Make sure don't overlook anything. Oh, yeah, the renewable standards. So could you pull up those slides real quick that are identified there? So this is what we had asked last
You
time.
want to
and-
try pulling them up? You want me to pull them up? So just to kind of, what we did is we kind of summarized the various options that are available either for on-site or off-site for renewables. I don't know if you want to actually try to go through them now in like 5 minutes, or if you want to look over them since you have them and then we can discuss them more in depth next time.
So this was, you gathered like all the, was this something Evanston put together?
Yeah, so staff put it together for you guys.
Okay, so I just looked at it, sorry, I wasn't sure if it was a comment thing.
Now, let's say if you are one of the covered properties, here are your options. If you wanted to do something renewables on site, your options, of what you can do if you want to, offsite renewables.
Right.
And then some examples.
You've only got what, 8 slides there? Can you just step through them just for a few seconds each, just to get.
Sure. I mean, I can do it really, really fast.
Yeah. That's okay.
Okay. So, like I was saying, if you are one of the properties covered by the Healthy Buildings Ordinance, and if you are in a position where you have a big flat roof or you don't have any shading or whatever, you could potentially say, okay, I'm going to do renewables on my site. So you could own your own photovoltaic panels, for example. For example, you could, have these roof mounted systems. You could do some building integrated stuff if you're like new construction, or you can, some folks do solar canopies out over the parking lots. I mean, there are lots of, ways to get solar onto your property. The other thing, but then you're kind of responsible for, maintaining them, making sure they operate, any of the repairs and so on. I mean, they are extremely reliable. That's why they use them in space, but you still have to do something. So the other option could be you install the solar panels on site, but you don't own them. A third party would actually own the system and you would actually lease those. Okay, so and then usually you end up leasing the panels, then the responsibility for maintaining them and making sure it works properly, et cetera, stays with that third party. They often
Get a permit to do that, right? A building permit. So City of Evanston has registered contractors in its database of those qualified to do that work. So,
did you install solar?
yeah,
Do you have a database or?
Yeah, you have to have a license from the city to do that.
okay. So just if building owners are looking to do this, they're not like, who do I contact and do a Google search and get.
The list has shortened in the last few years.
Yeah, well, a lot of those companies haven't gone bankrupt.
So, but then I was saying there are also, benefits such as tax credits and so on that are available that then that third party would usually pocket. You could also do a power purchase agreement. Again, like a third party would own the PV system that's on your roof and they take care of everything and you will just purchase at a predetermined rate of X, cents per kilowatt hour, the power that comes off of those panels. And then of course, the other option for another renewable here is potentially installing geothermal. Okay, so those are your on-site opportunities. Off-site. Can I actually scroll this or can you scroll? Okay. So off-site, if you're building and perhaps you don't want to deal with anything on-site, or you can't because you don't have the ideal, conditions to install solar, you could do community solar. So that's usually an off-site larger solar installation of which you agree to basically purchase a share of that and you take the solar that comes from that. You could also just, continue to purchase electricity as you usually do and then just contract for a certain number of renewable energy certificates to make your your electricity green or renewable. You could also enter into some kind of power purchase agreement for green power, and that could come from a variety of sources, be it solar or wind or hydro. Or, as we already do here in Evanston, you could be part of the Community Choice Aggregation Program, which is available for, in our case, any residential that are in multifamily, like in condos or in rentals or otherwise small commercial.
I really think that's a great start. We're going to have to kind of call it.
Yeah.
But thank
The
you
city
for
of Evanston,
Thank you for the
have any
beginning.
plans for community renewable energy generation?
Like installing solar on site.
Community solar, community geothermal generation? Yeah. Okay.
But we have some of the systems, the PV systems that are going in or have gone in, right, at Robert Brown and.
Right. Those are individual versus like generating power for, right, that people could tap into.
or purchase. So, if you could, have a look at them and we can go over it again next week and then do some.
There's a lot of, this is really
Thank you.
clear. It's all very helpful.
Yeah. Good, thank you for pulling that together. Okay, being 10 o'clock, I want to thank everybody for attending today. I'll entertain a
Thank you,
motion to
Conrad.
adjourn the meeting.
Thanks for.
Seconds? All right, all in favor?
Hi.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks.